Developing right now on Morning News Now, the heat is on just in time for the holiday. Parts of the U.S. bracing for what could become the hottest day of the year so far, with triple-digit temperatures on track to break records today. The summer sizzle coming just as millions of Americans head out of town for the big 4th of July weekend. We are tracking the conditions, the dangers, and what to expect before you hit the road. Also this morning, President Trump under fire after financial filings show he made more than $1 billion in crypto ventures last year.
Don't get involved in my personal. We have funds that run my money. The stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting.
Plus, the president taking the inaugural flight for the controversial new Air Force One. We're going to take you to Washington. Plus, a scary stunt atop one of the world's most famous skyscrapers. A pair of daredevils scaling up to the very top of the Empire State Building, flying a banner, even apparently getting engaged. Police finally catching up with them and taking them into custody. Now we're learning more about how they got up there and the charges they face. We will bring you the latest. And an epic win for Team USA. The U.S. men's national team now advancing to the round of 16 at the World Cup. They beat Bosnia and Herzegovina despite losing a star player mid-game in a historic victory last night. Plus, England also celebrating after an incredible comeback win. We will have all the highlights. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off. This record-breaking heat wave feels like a broken record. Once again, millions of Americans across the country are waking up to sweltering temps. Triple-digit temperatures are expected from Georgia all the way up to New Hampshire. Even though it's July, when the weather is typically toasty, some spots will still see highs nearly 20 degrees above normal. Out west, massive heat-fueled wildfires continue to burn in Colorado and Utah, raising worries about the air quality there. The sweltering heat already impacting 4th of July celebrations, from World Cup festivities to holiday weekend parades. It's a daunting forecast for the more than 72 million Americans who are expected to travel this holiday weekend amid these stifling conditions. We're covering this story from all angles: weather, health. But we start with NBC's Ryan Nobles in the middle of it all in Washington, D.C. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, the sun is barely up here in the nation's capital, and it is already hot, over 80 degrees. It's expected to climb into the triple digits yet again today. We are experiencing what could be almost a week of temperatures over 100 degrees. There is a concern that the heat index, what it feels like temperature, could be as close as 110 degrees. And that's a lot for city officials to take in, because Washington, D.C. is expected to be packed this weekend with celebrations surrounding the 250th anniversary of Independence Day. Already, you can see behind me, the mall is packed with the Great American State Fair. So the city, federal officials, everyone involved in the planning, making sure that they have all the necessary safety precautions in place to keep people safe over the next couple of days. But it's not just here in Washington, D.C. that they are dealing with extreme heat. It is up and down the East Coast into the Midwest. Multiple cities are bracing for temperatures over 100 degrees. It's expected to impact things like Amtrak. They're warning that there could be delays as a result of the extreme heat. And also, there's a real concern about the power grid. The mayor of New York City suggesting that folks keep their temperature at 78 degrees inside of their homes so that air conditioners don't trip and break the power grid over the next couple of days, because it is going to be so hot. Now, there's a lot to keep in mind here, because this is a holiday where people spend their time outdoors. The big key, of course, is to stay hydrated, stay out of the sun as much as possible, and make sure you listen to your body. If you start to feel that you're getting a little out of sorts, that could be heat exhaustion, and that can be a real problem. So the next couple of days, it's going to remain warm. It will probably be like this through the holiday weekend. So, Joe, this is something that a lot of people are looking to have fun, but they also need to stay safe. Joe?
No doubt, Ryan. Thank you. Let's get a closer look at just how hot it's expected to get with your morning news now weather. And Angie Lastman has all the numbers. Angie, good morning.
Hi, Joe. Good morning to you. Ryan said it. We've got to be safe. This is a prolonged kind of heat wave that we're still going to really right in the middle of and going to see this last through the weekend. We've got 163 million people from the Great Lakes through the Southeast and up as far north as Maine. These heat index values for a lot of locations are going to be 100 plus, with the highest numbers coming in around 115. So let's take a look at some of those numbers today. Cleveland, you top out at 97, feels like 106. Philadelphia, 103 is your actual temperature. You're going to feel like 111. Even Boston, 105 for your heat index at the warmest point of the day today. Across parts of the Southeast, 111 for the feels like in Nashville, 107 for the heat index in Little Rock. That is just today. As we look to tomorrow, more of the same. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of relief underway for any folks that are dealing with this at this time, at least. We've got 104 for the feels like in St. Louis, 105 in Charleston, 111 again for folks in the Mid-Atlantic. Norfolk, you'll feel like 111 at the warmest point of the day. And even as we get into next week, we only see the heat ease for some. So notice Chicago, you're down to those mid-80s. That's going to feel like, winter time in some perspective for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Nashville, you hang out into those upper 90s, so still quite warm. We've got Washington, D.C. hanging on to those triple digits for the actual temperature on Saturday, and then down to those low 90s by Monday. That'll bring a little bit of relief. Even Boston, as you get into really Sunday and beyond, you'll get some refreshing air kind of filtering in. But the feels like temperatures still into those triple digits, really for the long haul for a lot of places. Close to it in Cleveland on Saturday. We've got 106 and 103 on Saturday and Sunday in D.C. Farther to the south, Nashville, you're across the board at 100 plus for the feels like temperatures through at least Monday, of course, impacting those holiday plans. We've also got, because of everything that I just explained, this happens when we have all of this heat kind of trapped in one location, elevated pollution levels near ground levels. So this is an air quality alert that we've got in effect across parts of the Northeast. That heat dome, in addition to everything I just mentioned, is also popping up some of these thunderstorms right along that ridge. We've got 23 million people that are going to see the potential for strong to even severe storms developing later today. Much of that kind of focused across parts of the Midwest. You can see parts of Minneapolis stretching to the west included in this. We've got the wind gust, the hail, and an isolated tornado all on the table for the potential today, Joe.
All right, Angie, thank you so much. Now, as the temperatures continue to climb, so do the dangers of spending too much time outside in the extreme heat. NBC News medical contributor Dr. John Torres is here with some simple ways to stay safe and beat the heat. Bottom line, if you are going to be outside, you need to know the signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion, right?
Exactly. Those are the two bottom lines behind this. And essentially the difference there is with one, heat exhaustion, your body is still trying to compensate. With heat stroke, that compensation mechanism has broken down, and you can see right here the signs of that. Essentially, you start getting dizzy, nauseous, you start having a rapid pulse, your body temperature goes up above 103 or 104. Again, that mechanism has broken down. You can't cool off anymore. That profuse sweating, or you could have hot, dry skin as well. But the biggest sign is that second tip there, confusion. If somebody is confused, that is a medical emergency. They need to go to the emergency room right now. Difference being heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion means your body is still trying to fight this thing off. And we've all been there where you just feel awful. And I tell people it's a lot like feeling like you have the flu. So you have rapid pulse rate, you're breathing high, you're sweating profusely, your skin's flushed. You just need time. You just need to get out of the sun, get into shade, cool off as quickly as you can, and drink lots of water.
Good to recognize that if you're outside and starting to feel those things
Exactly.
while you're outside, you know what's going on and you can take care of it. If you are going to be outside, the beach, barbecue, going to a parade or a picnic or something like that, what are the best ways to stay cool and avoid the heat-related illnesses?
And so the best way to stay cool is the most obvious way to stay cool and to avoid the heat during the high part of the day when it's going to be the most intense. And that's usually 10 to 2, 10 to 4 time period. Stay out of the sun as much as you can, too. But you want to pre-plan, and that means taking things that you can cool off with, wearing appropriate clothes, light-colored clothes, fabric that the wind can blow through, lots of hydration, lots of drinking fluids, and then watch the children and the elderly because they're more vulnerable. They can't regulate their temperatures as much, and they can fall sicker quicker.
Yeah, for those extra vulnerable groups, like young kids, like older adults, are there extra precautions that they should be taking?
The biggest precaution with them is just to keep an eye on them, because you're not going to necessarily be able to tell if they're suffering from that confusion or things like that. So if you notice changes, particularly in behavior, especially with babies, if they start being irritable, if they stop eating, especially if they stop drinking, if you just notice these changes in them or in the elderly you might be taking care of, and now's a great time to look after our neighbors, call 911, say, hey, somebody needs to check in. But the main thing is to get them out of that environment during the day, get them into air conditioning, because it's that constant 2, 3, 4 days of no breaks in the temperature that can really cause harm.
Is this one of those holiday weekends where if you just don't have to be outside, as tempting as it is to be out there, it might just be best to stay in as much as possible?
Exactly. You don't want to be outside unless you have to. There's a thing called wet bulb temperature, which is what they use for work environments and sports environments. And so if you're out there, you want to make sure that wet bulb temperature, that you're looking at the rest work cycle. And so you might only be having to work 15 minutes and then rest 30 minutes. You want to make sure that your workers, the people that are outside, if you're involved in sports, that you're taken care of.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind there are some folks who have to be out there for their jobs.
Exactly.
All right, Dr. Torres, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. Now, while locking yourself inside your air-conditioned home might sound nice over the next few days, we know a record-breaking number of Americans expected to travel over this holiday weekend, and today is predicted to be the busiest, both on the roads and at the airports. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is at Chicago O'Hare Airport with a look at how the travel weekend is shaping up. Maggie, good morning.
Hey there, good morning. The July 4th travel rush absolutely hitting its peak today. It's expected to be the busiest day, according to TSA, at airports nationwide, with an estimated 3 million people flying through airports coast to coast. In particular, TSA says the combination of patriotic excitement and World Cup fever has them bracing for some 18.7 million passengers during this 4th of July holiday stretch. Among the most popular cities, speaking of, New York and Seattle, two cities celebrating the 4th, of course, and also hosting World Cup matches. Now, Chicago O'Hare is anticipating the busiest July 4th crowds ever, with passenger totals here up roughly 8% from last year. Meanwhile, for drivers, today marks the busiest day as well to pick up a rental car, with rental giant Hertz seeing the highest demand in Orlando, Denver, Boston, LA, and New York City. The number of Americans hitting the highways also is up to roughly 61 million Americans. That's about 85% of all July 4th travelers, guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much. The fallout is growing from President Trump's financial disclosures. They show he made $1.4 billion last year from cryptocurrency ventures and meme coins. Some lawmakers say that he's profiting from the presidency. For his part, Mr. Trump is defending his new fortune. NBC's Gary Grumbach joins us now from Washington with the latest. Gary, good morning. So what are Democrats saying about this money, and how is the president responding to the criticism?
Yeah, this comes after $600 million was revealed to have been put towards Donald Trump and his family through a crypto business that they created themselves back in 2024. Here's how the president responded to it. We'll get to Democrats on the other side.
I don't get involved in my personal. We have funds that run my money. Well, I've made a lot of money before I became president, and they invest my money, and I don't talk to them. I don't even speak to them. So I have many people, I don't know what they call it, closed accounts or something. You put your money in, and that's it. You know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting. If you have a 401k, how's your 401k done? It's about up 85%. Thank you, President Trump.
Yeah, so Democrats are trying to point out that the president is amassing some serious wealth here, while others in this country are just simply trying to get by with groceries and gas prices sky high at this point. Senator Elizabeth Warren saying that she's going to try legislatively to block this kind of thing, to block presidents from being able to do this in the future. But with a Republican-led House, a Republican-led Senate, that seems very unlikely, at least right now, Joe.
Gary, we also saw President Trump take his first flight on this brand new Air Force One plane, which was a gift from Qatar. It is opulent. It is also controversial. What else should we know about it?
Yeah, gone are the days of the baby blue paint job on Air Force One. Now you've got dark blue, red, and white in a $400 million gift from the royal family in Qatar. They gave this plane last year to the United States. President Trump had it retrofitted for months as it relates to security and as it relates to just what the inside actually looks like. The pool reporter who was representing all of the TV networks on the plane yesterday described it in one word: luxurious. Joe.
All right. Also, the president on that plane flew to North Dakota for the opening of the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library. He had a certain interaction that is getting some attention, an interaction not with a real-life, modern-day human being. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the president is long a fan of AI. You see he's posting AI on his Truth Social platform all the time, but we rarely get to see him actually interacting with AI. So watch this. This is going to be the real Donald Trump and an AI Teddy Roosevelt.
Every day, a president faces storms most people never see. Keep your nerve and remember the nation comes first. You get through. I know you know that feeling yourself.
Well, I appreciate those words. Those words are fantastic. And I just want to say it's an honor to be with you today. We are making a little bit of a tour, some of the fantastic things you've done.
So certainly a unique way to see the president interacting with somebody. We rarely see a president interacting with AI, but this is the future, right? The president has certainly come under fire for some of the things he's been posting on social media as it relates to AI. But certainly if you visit the North Dakota Presidential Library for Teddy Roosevelt, you get to interact with some AI there. Joe.
Yeah, it's either a glimpse at the future or it's just fuel for a future SNL sketch. We'll have to wait and see. Gary Grumbach, thank you so much. Appreciate it. A daredevil duo is behind bars this morning after performing a daring stunt that feels like something out of a King Kong movie. The couple climbed to the very top of the iconic Empire State Building, where they unfurled a banner calling for peace. The man then appeared to propose, and the two embraced as helicopters swirled overhead. As NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro explains the arrest captured on police body cam video, has a lot of people asking, how the heck did they get up there?
Two climbers under arrest after an alarming security breach at the Empire State Building.
Oh my God.
A jaw-dropping midday stunt happening at one of America's most famous landmarks. Law enforcement sources say Angelina Nicolau and Ivan Kuznetsov were first spotted climbing to the spire around noon, sparking a flurry of 911 calls, even alerts to air traffic control from pilots.
Two geniuses climbed to the top of the Empire State Building.
Later, over 1,400 feet in the air, the pair unfurling a banner with a message about love and peace, and then...
It looks like the man is he proposing to her?
In a bizarre twist, one of the climbers apparently getting down on one knee. The pair posting these images from the top of the building. Down below, police responding and people gathering to watch. This all happening on a hot summer day in the city, but not stopping the crowds from gathering here to watch the spectacle up above.
How you doing?
It all lasted about 30 minutes.
Well, you can't be up here.
NYPD releasing this blurred body cam of officers having to climb up to detain them.
All right. Yeah, I'm okay. What language do you guys speak?
Russian. The couple now charged with multiple felonies, including reckless endangerment and burglary. Still unclear how they managed to gain access to such a heavily restricted area with masks and gear. Empire State Building officials only calling the incident unauthorized, with visitors quickly evacuated.
I look over and I see that someone's on top of the building, and that's a little scary, you know.
The couple, well known for their gravity-defying stunts, which were part of a documentary.
Now we were more than just daredevils.
They're in NYPD custody. The couple caused quite a commotion with their midday stunt, with tourists at the top getting a lot more than just the views they were expecting.
No kidding, Valerie. Thank you. For more on this, let's bring in Darren Porcher. He is a former New York Police Department lieutenant. Darren, good to have you with us. Y'all trained for everything, and guess including this. From a law enforcement perspective, just what was your reaction when you heard about this, when you saw this unfold?
I was really shocked because the NYPD's intelligence division conducts a security assessment of high-value targets such as the Empire State Building, World Trade Center, Madison Square Garden, et cetera. And that security that security check goes in unison with the private security that's assigned to the Empire State Building. So they're constantly revolutionizing ways to whereas they can determine if there's a possible fracture in the security mechanism in the Empire State Building. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to rewind the tape and see where these individuals made their incursion into the Empire State Building. I believe that there was some locks that they were able to fracture to get to the top of the building, but this is something that should not have happened.
I could only think of the law enforcement personnel who had to go up there to try and bring an end to all of this. It's a reminder, you do train for as many scenarios as possible, including something like this, right?
Yes, the unit in question that responded to this was Emergency Service Unit Truck 1, which is possibly, I want to say maybe a mile away, but they're the best in the business as it relates to scaling these skyscrapers in the city of New York. They're really good in terms of managing the ropes and getting to these structures that are high, as we see here. And a lot of this comes to fruition when oftentimes we have individuals on scaffolds that have been in a bad situation where the NYPD needs to come up and rescue them. So this is what they do. But one of the challenges that you have with a rescue, or I should say an incursion of this caliber, is you have to wait for these individuals to come down. You can't go up and bring them down, because if you go up and attempt to bring them down forcefully, you now gain the propensity of somebody falling and getting themselves hurt.
Yeah, amazing they were able to accomplish this without anyone getting hurt. You mentioned the security measures. What's usually in place when it comes to an iconic landmark like the Empire State Building? And how do you think these climbers could have possibly bypassed those security measures?
The NYPD has a consent decree with commercial establishments as it relates to audio and video cameras at the location. What I mean by that is we have a real-time crime center in one police plaza, which actually monitors this location and allows the police department to hone in on the cameras at that location. So they're going to look to that, and they're going to conduct what we refer to as an after-action review as to what went wrong. So when we revolutionize the security component of this building, we can make sure that this doesn't happen again. Because fortunately, this was merely an internet stunt. But if this was an act of terrorism, we could have been placed in peril.
Yeah, and here's one of the worries here. Obviously, the media is going to cover this live, and now we have social media, so it does go viral, dangerous stunts like this. Do you worry it's going to encourage any sort of copycat, whether it's someone who has more nefarious plans or someone who just wants to do similar to what they allegedly did and just get some attention?
From the copycat perspective, I think that this is a challenge. We have something that happens in New York, oftentimes we refer to as subway surfing, whereas we have individuals that get on top of subway cars and they ride through for the purpose of gaining an Instagram or something that's on Snapchat. A lot of these social media companies are now not allowing this content to be presented on their platform. And I'm hoping that the same will happen as it relates to an incident of this magnitude. So the social media components are a very instrumental piece in not allowing these people the universal viewing of what their antics would be in a case like this.
We have a busy weekend ahead here in New York. Obviously, 4th of July holiday, boat parade during the day. We got the fireworks at night. A certain rock star, pop star might be getting married a few blocks from the Empire State Building. A World Cup game in Jersey on Sunday. I assume security is already high, but could what we saw happen yesterday force even more changes?
Well, as of now, the security matrix of the NYPD is they have officers working 12-hour tours throughout the course of this weekend based on, be it World Cup, Taylor Swift getting married, or just the overall larger population of people that we have that come into the city of New York. This is something that the NYPD does quite regularly, and they're really good at it. And I think this is more of an aberration than a norm, as what we saw at the Empire State Building. But I genuinely believe that the NYPD is fit for the challenge. I mean, look, we just had the Knicks parade where we had over 2 million people, and it went off without a hitch. And it's just a testament to how great our police department is in upholding the social contract and keeping us safe.
Darren Porcher, good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me as a guest.
As we just mentioned, all signs suggest that pop star Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding weekend is about to get underway. NBC News is learning the two-day festivities should begin tonight with a rehearsal dinner in Midtown ahead of Friday's star-studded ceremony at Madison Square Garden. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas has the details.
A new NYPD memo laying out details for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's major celebration, according to a person familiar with the matter. About 100 people will attend a rehearsal dinner at a venue inside the Garden Thursday around 6 p.m. The wedding and reception beginning around 5:30 p.m. Friday. The event expected to end around 2 a.m. with as many as 1,000 guests in attendance. The New York Times reporting the memo was titled Taylor Swift Wedding at Madison Square Garden, also citing interviews saying hundreds of police officers are expected to be on patrol. The arena bustling with preparation for the celebration.
As you can see right here behind me, really large items such as this one are being unloaded off of these trucks and being taken into the loading dock here at Madison Square Garden.
NBC News has reached out to Swift, Kelsey, and MSG for comment, but have not heard back. The NYPD commissioner not giving any specifics on the big day.
I would be remiss not to mention an event that we are tracking at Madison Square Garden on Friday night. The NYPD will, of course, have a detail in place.
I've seen people walking around and there's just a buzz sort of in the air.
Chloe Malas, NBC News.
Much more to come here on Morning News now. Later this hour, history for the USA at the World Cup. The U.S. men's national team advancing after an incredible win over Bosnia and Herzegovina last night. We're going to have all of the excitement. Up first, though, after the break, developing news on the war in Ukraine as Russia launches a massive attack on Kyiv. The latest when we come back. We're following some developing news now on the war in Ukraine. Russia launched a deadly large-scale attack on Kyiv overnight. NBC News International correspondent Claudia Lavanga joins us now to take us around the world in 60 seconds. Claudia, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Authorities in Ukraine say at least 18 people were killed in Russia's overnight attack on the capital, Kyiv. Now, this was the most devastating attack on the capital of Ukraine since the middle of June, and photos and videos of the aftermath show fire still burning in the early morning, plumes of smoke rising over the city, destroyed buildings, broken windows, and damaged cars. On Wednesday, Ukraine's President Zelensky cut short his visit to Ireland after he said that intelligence had indicated that Russia was preparing another massive strike. After the warning, many residents rushed to the city's subway stations where they spent the night. Let's go to the Vatican now, where on Thursday a group of traditionalist Catholics were excommunicated after they consecrated 4 bishops without the Pope's consent, an act the Vatican called of schismatic nature. The Society of St. Pius X has long opposed modernizing reforms in the Catholic Church, such as Mass being held in languages other than Latin. The group defied a last-ditch appeal by Pope Leo, who warned them on Tuesday that going ahead with the consecration of bishops would amount to a sin of extreme gravity. And let's end this tour of the world in Australia, where Neil the seal has once again caused havoc in southern Tasmania. The 1-ton, 5-year-old elephant seal is a bit of a celebrity in the region and has a reputation of acting like a bit of an unruly teenager. He likes to crash fences, lie in the middle of the roads, and put his big and heavy nose on parked cars. And yet, residents love him. As one Tasmanian senator put it, he's the only bloke in Tasmania who can stop traffic, ignore everyone, and still be loved for it. And Joe, what's not to love? I mean, look at this guy.
No kidding, he's adorable. The traffic cones were meant to keep him away. I don't think they're working. They're going to have to find another solution. So, love also that he has a social media account. All right, Claudia, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's get to the World Cup now. The USA now marching on to the round of 16. They beat Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0 in the Bay Area yesterday. Valerian Balogun put the U.S. ahead just before halftime, but the star striker was then sent off midway through the second half following a bad tackle on a Bosnian player, a controversial red card call. Despite the U.S. playing the rest of the game with 10 men, Malik Tillman fired in a free kick late in the match, giving the team a 2-goal lead, setting up a clash now with Belgium in the next round. Here to discuss that game and the rest of the action from the World Cup, commentator and presenter Tony Husband and NBC New York anchor and huge soccer fan Michael Gargiulo. Good to have both of you with us. Tony, let's start with you, because, I mean, this was a double-edged result for the U.S. Most importantly, they won, got to the next round, but they lost their star player Balogun to that red card. He now misses the next game against Belgium. But before we talk about that next matchup, how do you think the team played? How well did they manage after that red card, playing about a third of the game with one less player?
Morning, Joe. I thought they were tremendous, actually. We talk so much in this game these days about tactics and formations and the way teams approach games. This was pure guts that got Mauricio Pochettino's team through, to go through the adversity of getting Balogun sent off for what was a harsh red card, and to just show that fortitude to fight back, the will to win, the will to get across the line with 10 men. You know, normally in World Cup games, those kind of moments are game changers. They're the moments we look back on and say, that was when everything turned and the game went against us. The US pushed on. Wonderful goal from Malik Tillman. I mean, that was Ronaldo-esque in the way he executed that free kick. So it was super. It was very encouraging. But yeah, there was a big winner on the night in that Balogun helped them win the game. The US win and go through. But the loser is the same player and potentially the US in that he's missing for the next game.
Yeah, Michael, let's bring you in here because, first of all, what a beautiful day for soccer.
I know.
I was jealous having serious FOMO there. I think we've discussed how there's a lot of new soccer fans who've been introduced to the sport over the last couple of weeks, and I think some of them might have Googled, what happens with a red card?
Right, exactly.
And they went, oh, this is not a power play in hockey.
No, it's not. No, you're not out for 2 minutes.
He's gone for this game and the next one. How did the team do considering that? Because it was pretty tense there.
No, I mean, I have to agree with everything that Tony just said. I mean, it's amazing because that's when you come back. And what we've seen, you know, Italy is my team as well. And Italy, in the qualifying to get to the World Cup against Bosnia, they had to play a man down for most of the game, and it was disastrous for them. I feared the same thing was going to happen with the U.S. They rallied. This is an incredible team. Everyone talks back to the USA teams with Landon Donovan, with Clint Dempsey, but this may be the team that we really, really remember for the way they performed in this game, the way they performed the opening game, and now they face Belgium coming up on Monday.
Let's talk about that, Tony. The next opponent, Belgium, they looked down and out against Senegal, managed to score 2 very late goals to tie the game 2-2, force extra time, then scored a controversial penalty in the last minute of extra time to break Senegal's hearts. How did Belgium do here? Did they deserve to win this one?
Well, this was just another example of what a wild and amazing World Cup we're seeing at the moment, Joe. I mean, they were down and out of this game. 2-0 down. Senegal looked in control, scored a fantastic goal, one of the goals of the tournament as well, on their way to getting what seemed like a commanding 2-goal lead. But the door was just creaked open late in the game. 2 strikes in the last 4 minutes. First Romelu Lukaku, then Yuri Tielemans. And then they went into extra time. And everybody's thinking, well, we're going to a shootout here. Penalties are going to decide this. Well, it was just one penalty that decided it. Again, it was one that went to review. It's a tight decision, a harsh decision. People will have views pro and against, but ultimately enough for Belgium. And this is a Belgium side that beat the US 5-2 in a friendly in March in Atlanta. They were much, much better on the day. They got some great players, but they're players that are at the end of a kind of golden generation for them as well. I think it's going to be very, very different in Seattle on Monday. But this is definitely going to be, by quite a stretch, the US's biggest test of this World Cup so far.
I've been to a soccer game in Seattle. It wasn't World Cup, but that thing where they create earthquakes for the Seahawks, I have a feeling we might replicate that there. How can they do against Belgium, especially without Balogun?
Well, I mean, they've got to do everything they can to keep the ball on Belgium's side of the field. There's a big history here. 2014, the last time the U.S. got this far in, they played Belgium. Some of the same players on Belgium's team, Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, they were on the field then. Tim Howard was the goalkeeper. He got the nickname Secretary of Defense by making 16 saves. The U.S. lost that game, but I really feel momentum is with this team, and I think we could be seeing an historic upset which would fit with this World Cup.
All right. Tony, Michael, lots to discuss here. We thank you both for walking us through because a lot of people either stayed up late last night or missed the action last night and need you to help guide us through. We appreciate it. Coming up on Morning News Now, a growing crisis for aging Americans.
You either are going to be a caregiver or you will be in need of caregiving. And so this caregiving crisis is only going to continue to grow.
Turn to look at the challenge so many families are facing and the efforts now to offer support. We'll be right back. We are back with a look at the growing strain on caregivers in America. The AARP says nearly 60 million U.S. adults are caregivers for someone close to them. Well, providing that much needed support to loved ones can be rewarding. It is also quite stressful. Experts are worried that soon we may not have enough people to care for everyone who needs it. NBC News Daily anchor Kate Snow takes a closer look at the crisis.
For Tyler Wilson, a combat wounded veteran shot multiple times in Afghanistan, every day takes teamwork.
Work together, guys.
The first bullet hit me in the spine from the side and instantly paralyzed me.
His wife, Crystal, helps manage his care.
Try and keep your elbows as straight as you can.
Their sons, what the Elizabeth Dole Foundation calls hidden helpers, young people who take on responsibilities far beyond their years.
Our kids are the type of people that will give that type of care without thinking twice. Is it hard on them? Absolutely, sometimes it's hard on them.
It's a challenge facing millions of American families. Roughly 1 in 4 adults are caregivers, and the number is growing. AARP Chief Executive Officer Dr. Maisha Minter-Jordan says this isn't a problem on the horizon. It's already here.
You either are going to be a caregiver or you will be in need of caregiving.
In just a few years, the country is expected to reach a demographic milestone. There will be more Americans over 65 than children under 18.
There are 10,000 people who are aging into 65 every year, and so this caregiving crisis is only going to continue to grow.
What are the drivers?
So there are a number of factors, one of which is we're living longer, but not necessarily healthy.
Experts warn that means more families will be asked to provide care, often while raising children.
Michael, stop screaming.
Working full-time jobs, plus trying to save for retirement.
I had to leave my career as a firefighter because of the caregiving needs at home changed, and Tyler's medical needs changed, and Tyler's medical journey changed, and no matter what, his care comes first.
For those who have to keep working, caregiving can turn into a second unpaid job.
If we don't address caregiving, what does America look like in 10 years?
So we're at this point where family caregivers are, the value of the care that they provide is $1 trillion. And at the same time, we know that caregivers don't have the tools, the resources, or the financial relief that they need.
The AARP and other groups advocating for policy changes.
We do have bipartisan support. It's a matter of continuing the push, bringing the stories and bringing the visibility of caregivers to the forefront.
More than 40 states have passed legislation known as the CARE Act, meant to ensure family caregivers are included in planning with doctors and discharge plans when someone is hospitalized. Through a partnership between the AARP and United Way, people in 32 states can call 211 for local resources and support for caregivers.
Power. Good boy.
For the Wilsons, the need is urgent.
She's willing to go to bat over anything for me, and it's a love I know I've never felt before and wouldn't want any other way.
Kate Snow, NBC News.
Coming up, artificial intelligence causing real concern for the job market, but new data shows it may not be having the impact that you think. Our friend Jared Perlow is here to help break down the findings. That is next on Morning News Now. We are back with a new look at the impact of artificial intelligence on the job market. Now, there are concerns that this rapidly growing technology is taking away jobs from human employees, but new data from the financial operations company Ramp finds this may not necessarily be the case. NBC News AI reporter Jared Perlow joins us now with more on these findings. So this is interesting because it shows that companies embracing AI are actually expanding their workforces, not shrinking them. Walk us through what this study found.
Exactly, and that's a take contrary to a lot of what we heard about the prevailing narrative. So we haven't seen this type of data in this new study was released on Tuesday. We just haven't seen it before. So financial operations company Ramp has access to line-by-line data about how over 70,000 companies in America are actually spending on AI. So these aren't kind of nebulous predictions. They can actually see what companies are doing in terms of buying AI. So what they did is they compared the high adopters in terms of AI companies. These are companies that spent over $33 per employee on AI against low adopters or companies that never adopted AI. Then they basically look at from the point where these companies started adopting AI, what's the difference in how they hire people? So what they found is that for the firms that actually adopt AI the most, they spend more than $33 per employee for AI. They actually saw either negligible effects or in certain sectors a gain in employment, and that's a shocking finding to some.
Those who have been optimistic about AI have been making this argument all along, so it's sort of interesting to see the research backing it up. Where exactly are we seeing this the most? Which industries?
So we're seeing it certainly concentrated in tech, which if you zoom out is probably not surprising because these are the companies that are most hands-on with AI. They stand to benefit the most from AI. They have a lot more AI native employees. You know, it makes sense if I'm working in a software company or a media company to then use AI technology while, you know, I'm developing AI products. Where we don't see this is in industrial sectors, especially like in logistics, in trade organizations, also professional services. That's really not where we're seeing the gains. But again, we're seeing negligible effects. We're seeing a zero effect in those industries. So we're not seeing a decrease in headcount. We're just seeing no effect.
We've been running these stories over the last few weeks about college graduates who have these fears about AI impacting the job market. We've heard them booing at graduation ceremonies. Should this calm their fears at all? I mean, just what is the reality of AI in the workplace for these new workers?
Yeah, I mean, great question. It's, I think, the trillion-dollar question right there. It's a messy picture, but I think this certainly provides, you know, a little bit of light for those people going into the tech industry because a lot of the tech CEOs have historically been the ones saying that they're laying off employees because they're using AI. You know, why would I hire a junior employee when I can get an AI agent to use instead? I think this study and the lead economist who I chatted with said that, you know, this is probably the first sign that we're not going to enter a doom and gloom robot apocalypse. I would say, you know, maybe it's a little cop-out, but I think it's really important to watch the data, see where this goes over the next year. The same team that did this report is going to update it over the next 3 months, next 6 months. So I think it's one of those wait and see. We might have to check back in.
How effectively are these companies, corporations doing it in getting that message out there to the public, to these young workers and all workers, like, hey, no, we think in the end this is going to be a net positive?
Well, I think it's certainly a mounting crusade kind of on their part because they realize, you know, peddling the doom and gloom narrative of AI is going to steal all their jobs. That's not great for their bottom line. So I've been talking with certain CEOs from Microsoft, from OpenAI. Certainly, they're walking back their AI jobs apocalypse takes. I think we saw them booed at college graduation ceremonies. They didn't enjoy that. We'll see where this goes over the next couple of years.
All right. Jerry Perlow, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. Staying with tech news, we're learning new details about the robot that stopped a suspect during a dramatic highway standoff in Massachusetts. Traffic was stopped for hours as police faced off with a suspected shooter. Officers then used a robotic dog and drone to end the dangerous situation. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson has the story.
It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. But this robotic dog is part of a very real police response to a deadly standoff near Boston. Watch as the robo-dog approaches the silver pickup truck, surrounded by armored police vehicles, appearing to try and smash the back window.
We used our robot dog to break the window, but unfortunately the window tint, we couldn't get past it, so we had to use non-lethal rounds to break the rest of the window.
Moments later, a drone flies inside the truck. Watch again as it makes its way through the shattered glass.
We used a drone to identify that the suspect was deceased.
Shortly after, 4 members of law enforcement approached the truck and secure the scene. State police say the suspect, wanted in connection to a homicide, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's just the latest example of how police are using new tech during some of their most dangerous calls. In California, the Sacramento Sheriff's Office says it used a drone equipped with a powerful magnet to disarm a suspect earlier this month. You can see him hiding in a garage, knife in hand. Watch as the magnet latches onto the knife and lifts it away. The Sheriff's Department writing that rather than rush into a potentially deadly encounter, use of drones like this are helping deputies resolve dangerous situations safely. Like this one on a stretch of a Massachusetts highway, coming to a safe conclusion with help from robots and remote technology.
Our thanks to Priscilla for that report. Coming up on Morning News Now, one man and decades of dedication to one of America's crown jewels.
And the first summer became the second summer, and the third summer, and you just kind of a part of your DNA. That's what you do in the summertime. You come to Yellowstone.
After the break, we'll introduce you to the longest-serving ranger at the famed Yellowstone National Park. We'll be right back. We end this hour with a spotlight on a great American. Harlan Credit is the longest-serving ranger at Yellowstone National Park. NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Yamas shows us how his dedication to one of the country's greatest wonders is inspiring younger generations.
By the time Harlan Credit first suited up as a ranger at Yellowstone National Park in the summer of '71, he was already hooked.
I saw the size of this particular lake and that beautiful mountain behind it and the animals around it. It was just a sense of awe, and we need to take care of this place for other generations. It felt important to me.
Wow, isn't that a beautiful view?
That summer job quickly turned into a life of service.
The first summer became the second summer, and the third summer, you just kind of a part of your DNA. That's what you do in the summertime. You come to Yellowstone.
Now, more than 5 decades later, he's believed to be the longest-serving ranger in the park's history, a fixture here on the banks of Lake Yellowstone, drawn back by that enduring mission.
This belongs to all of us. We got to take care of this place.
He's worn many hats over the years, including nearly 4 decades with the fire department. And the moment that seared in his memory most, a night in 1993, when a call came over the radio of a missing toddler.
I thought at 3 o'clock in the morning, my goodness, there's no way that this child's still alive.
7 hours into a grueling, all-out search, with hope running out, Harlan remembers hesitating, briefly, as he walked past a small cluster of trees.
I came back and kicked my feet underneath there, and there that baby was there. And I'm holding that baby. And I realized God and I are the only ones that know that child's even alive. That's a high point.
And that's what the guys are shooting up through there.
Today, even though he's 86 years old, you won't find Harlan behind a desk. He's still out there, doing what he loves, spending time with people, teaching them about the natural wonders of this stunning place.
The unique part about this, as far as the American idea, is we own it together. We the people own this, not somebody else. This belongs to us. That's a uniquely American idea.
He's passed that passion for this part of our country's story to his family, with 3 generations now working or volunteering here, including 2 granddaughters and his grandson, Colin.
It's crazy that he's been here for so long. He has just touched like tens of thousands of lives. He's the embodiment of a great American. He stands for, I think, what America should be about.
His impact as vast as Yellowstone.
I want you kids to remember what a special place this is.
And he's got no plans of slowing down.
Okay, see everybody.
Our thanks to Tom for that inspiring profile as we prepare to celebrate America's 250th. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. The news continues right now. Let's begin this hour with that dangerous heat wave blanketing most of the country. Get this, nearly 70% of the nation is expecting highs above 90 degrees today. NBC's Ryan Nobles is in the nation's capital, where millions are expected to take part in 4th of July festivities. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. It is already over 80 degrees here in Washington, D.C. It's expected to get into the triple digits yet again today and could stay in the triple digits through the weekend. It's not just the nation's capital. Cities all over the Northeast putting emergency preparations in place, warning that this dangerous heat wave could be life-threatening. Across the country this morning, more than 200 million people are feeling the heat, with dangerous and punishing temperatures enveloping the Northeast ahead of the 4th of July weekend. Forecasters predicting several cities could set record highs through the holiday weekend, from Detroit to Nashville to Bangor, Maine.
Why is it so hot? Like, literally, why is it so hot?
If you're thinking of stepping outside in New York City, even for a second, you're going to start melting.
The mayor of New York City urging residents to take precautions.
We are talking about a level of heat that the city has not seen in more than a decade.
Pools in the city now staying open later as part of an emergency heat plan. Others up and down the East Coast already flocking to beaches to beat the sweltering heat, with health officials urging people to stay hydrated and use sun protection.
We don't want to get our kids burned, and it's really hot out today, and the UV is like out of control.
In Minnesota, the heat causing a scare at a minor league baseball game. During a pregame ceremony, St. Paul Saints player Walker Jenkins coming to the rescue of a young fan who was fainting on the field and carrying him off to safety. The team sharing on social media that he's doing well, giving a thumbs up with Jenkins' jersey. Meanwhile, the nation's capital is gearing up for the 4th of July festivities, where the all-time July heat record could be broken this weekend.
It is just really, really oppressively hot out here.
Of course, one of the reasons that this triple-digit heat is going to be such a problem is that the 4th of July is a time where people spend a lot of time outdoors. So officials are saying to try and limit your exposure to the sun as much as possible. It's not just the heat affecting people. There's a wide range of other issues that could pop up. Amtrak warning there could be delays on the rails. Also, there could be flight delays at the airports as well as that crush on the power grid with people pumping their air conditioning. Officials warning to try and limit just how much your air conditioning is used over this weekend as they try and preserve the power grid as much as possible in what is going to be a very hot weekend. Joe?
All right, Ryan, thank you. Almost nothing works well in this heat, humans and beyond. So for more on how high those temperatures will get, Angie Lastman is here. You're working great. You're on it.
I'm optimized for the heat at this point, being a meteorologist, Joe. I think that the big story, kind of what Ryan mentioned, obviously is the heat, but the safety from all of that is going to be something you want to take with you through the weekend. And we've already got the alerts up to show it. This has been days and days now, over 160 million people included in those, with the potential for dozens and dozens of record highs. Notice up and down the East Coast, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., stretching farther to the west. We've got Huntington, Toledo, Columbus, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, all included in the potential to break a record daily high over the next couple of days. Here's where we land today. 97 in Detroit, not quite a record. A 101 in Baltimore. That'll be close to the record for this date of 103. New York City expected to hit 100 degrees. That record for Central Park, 100 degrees also. And in the past decade, New York City, for the feels like temperature, has not seen 110 plus more than 3 times. So today could be the 4th time we could see 110 plus for what it feels like in New York City. And that kind of goes for everybody that you see on this map. Richmond, Raleigh, Charlotte, all in those feels like temperatures, 100 plus. By tomorrow, more of these records potentially being broken. Roanoke expected to hit 100 degrees. That high for tomorrow's date, 97. And even as we get farther to the north tomorrow, similar story. 104 will likely be a record for Philadelphia. We'll see 101 in New York City. Boston expected to hit 99 degrees with that record for that date at 102. And on top of dealing with the heat, we've also got to deal with the air quality because of the heat. We've got all of that kind of pollution kind of trapped near the ground. This often happens during heat waves. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Atlantic City, New York, Providence, all included in those air quality alerts. So if you or someone you love has difficulty when we have poor air quality, you're going to want to make sure that you're staying inside, of course, with that AC. We've got 23 million people on top of all of this included in the severe potential today. Green Bay, Minneapolis, Rapid City. It's mainly the wind gusts and the hail that we'll watch for, but of course can't rule out an isolated tornado as the afternoon gets underway. And most importantly, Joe Fryer, listen up. This is your personalized forecast that you wanted for the fireworks. There is good news when it comes to your fireworks forecast as we look ahead to 4th of July on Saturday. Clear skies and warm conditions, dry conditions for a lot of folks across the West. You can see San Fran, Los Angeles, Phoenix, all looking at dry and clear and mainly mild conditions. The mid-Mississippi Valley is where I'll watch for some of these kind of thunderstorms that could be likely. You can see it's not all that widespread, but you could get in on the action if you live in Minneapolis or Omaha. Farther to the south, Dallas, places, Houston, you'll see maybe an isolated shower or two, and then across parts of Florida, Tampa, Miami included in there. We'll mainly see warm and humid conditions for the Northeast. New York City, Joe, for that Macy's big celebration, you're going to have to dodge some isolated thunderstorms, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get that beautiful fireworks show underway.
Yeah, my fingers are crossed. It is, as you know, I've seen a preview of it. We went out to the desert in California where they tested it. Usually they have 4 barges, this time 6 barges. It's going to be bigger than ever. So
we got to make it happen.
Hopefully the weather holds up.
Do your weather dance, your rain dance.
I will. All right, you have to teach me one. All right.
I'm on it.
Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. Now to the record-smashing travel surge expected over the 4th of July holiday weekend. AAA says more than 72 million Americans are expected to travel more than 50 miles from home this weekend. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us now from Chicago O'Hare, where they're bracing for record travelers. Today could be the big day there. Maggie, good morning.
Yeah, Joe, that's right. Good morning. The big day at airports across the country, the biggest day, according to TSA. And you're right, here in Chicago, crowd estimates are up 8% over this time last year, which would be a record. Analysts point to a perfect storm of people traveling for, of course, America 250, but also for the World Cup. And with that combination in mind, they say the busiest travel days are here. This morning, by land, by air, and by sea, July 4th's record travel rush is hitting its peak, with today set to be the busiest day at airports nationwide. TSA estimating some 3 million Americans will be flying.
I know sometimes the lines can be bigger, so hoping for the best.
The electric combo of patriotic excitement and World Cup fever has TSA bracing for some 18.7 million passengers during this holiday stretch. Among the most popular destinations, New York City and Seattle, two cities celebrating the 4th and hosting World Cup fans. Chicago O'Hare anticipating their biggest July 4th crowds ever. In D.C., America 250 celebrations will require flights in and out of DCA to be suspended for a few hours tomorrow and on the 4th of July, too. And for an industry still feeling the effects of past government shutdowns and TSA staffing shortages, another incident Wednesday when a small plane and box truck collided on a taxiway at busy Raleigh-Durham International. No one was hurt and flights soon resumed. Meanwhile, for drivers, today marks the busiest day to pick up a rental car, with rental giant Hertz seeing the highest demand in Orlando, Denver, Boston, Los Angeles, and New York City. The number of Americans hitting highways is up, roughly 61 million, or 85% of all travelers. Experts not surprised.
This holiday is more of a backyard holiday, meaning that people are traveling shorter distances.
As excitement for America's historic birthday soars. And of course, Mother Nature just can't help but throw a wrench into things. Angie talked about the storm threat. Also today, Delta Airlines warning the extreme heat out east could actually impact flights into and out of the named LaGuardia Airport in New York. Specifically, extreme heat, by the way, lessens air density, which makes it harder for airplanes' engines to take off. So all airlines to that end nationwide warning people, especially today, to get to the airport extra early and sign up for alerts tied to your flights. Joe.
Yeah, doesn't take much to throw off LaGuardia, I can tell you that. Maggie, thank you so much. A daredevil couple is in NYPD custody this morning following a heart-stopping stunt at the Empire State Building. The duo climbed to the top of the spire of the Manhattan landmark yesterday, where they unfurled a banner calling for peace. That's not all. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro joins us now with all the details. The newsroom certainly came to a halt, a pause yesterday as we all watched what was unfolding, and you were there.
Yeah, the newsroom and the city as well. It was quite a day. And in a city that is used to spectacles, this one still managed to catch everyone's attention. A man and a woman scaling to the top of the Empire State Building spire. The two individuals now charged with multiple counts for the stunt that is raising serious security concerns ahead of the busy 4th of July weekend.
This morning, two people are facing serious charges for this sky-high stunt. The duo wearing masks climbing to the top of one of the nation's most iconic landmarks on Wednesday, New York's Empire State Building.
Two geniuses climbed to the top of the Empire State Building, the top of the spire.
It's not some worker changing a light, is it?
Nah, it's a male-female dressed in black. They had some flag they were waving.
The couple unfurling a black banner about peace and love and kissing nearly 1,500 feet above Midtown Manhattan as people looked on from below.
We had to run outside and see what was going on.
You can't be up here.
This blurred body camera footage capturing officers taking them into custody. The pair, later identified as internet daredevils, 32-year-old Ivan Kuznetsov and 33-year-old Angelina Nicolaou. They're both now facing multiple criminal charges, including felony burglary, reckless endangerment, and trespassing.
This guy right here is on top of the, yes, you called it the Empire State Building.
The couple is featured in a documentary about their gravity-defying stunts. But in this latest feat, as they descended to a lower platform, Kuznetsov appears to drop to one knee. Nicolaou posting a photo on social media showing off a sparkling ring. An Empire State Building spokesperson writing in a statement, while the stunt was unauthorized, there was at no time danger to tenants, visitors, and Empire State Building observation deck guests. But some are questioning how the couple managed to bypass security.
It's really intense security. You go through metal detectors.
The incident happening while the NYPD is on high alert amidst World Cup crowds, reports of Taylor Swift's wedding at Madison Square Garden, and the upcoming Macy's fireworks show.
The police commissioner emphasizing there are no known specific or credible threats in the city. The NYPD will be investigating how the suspects got past security and into restricted areas with a backpack, masks, banner, and tools. Joe, again, quite the spectacle yesterday.
No kidding, and lots of questions to be answered. All right, Valerie, thank you so much. President Trump continues to defend his skyrocketing wealth during the first year of his second term in office. Mr. Trump faced sharp criticism from Democrats after newly released figures showed he made more than $1.4 billion last year from crypto ventures. This as the president debuted the brand new Air Force One while on his way to North Dakota. The controversial new plane is a gift from the government of Qatar. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest from Washington. Gabe, good morning.
Joe, good morning. The White House has said the new aircraft will be used temporarily until Boeing finishes building two long-delayed presidential planes in a few years. But while the president says this is a free gift from the Qataris, critics are taking issue with taxpayer money being used for security upgrades. President Trump back in Washington this morning after his first flight on board the new Air Force One, the luxury Boeing 747 gifted by the government of Qatar.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Getting the new red, white, and darker blue presidential plane ready required retrofitting it for security reasons. The Air Force Secretary previously telling lawmakers those upgrades would cost less than $400 million.
It costs very little relative to what it would cost if we did it a different way.
But the plane has not been without controversy. The Constitution requires congressional approval for accepting a personal gift from a foreign government. The White House says the plane is being used for government business now, but President Trump is expected to take the jet with him when he leaves office to put it on display at his eventual presidential library. It all comes as an NBC News review of the president's 900-plus page financial disclosure revealed more than 300 stock trades made just a day before his administration paused several key tariffs, a move that caused a major rally on Wall Street.
The timing is incredibly suspect. The Trumps are enriching themselves and using the government to do so.
The income from those stocks, just a small part of the $2.2 billion President Trump earned last year, with the bulk of that coming from the cryptocurrency industry, which his administration has loosened restrictions on.
To critics who say you're profiting off the presidency, Mr.
Well, you know why I'm profiting? Because the stock market's going up. Everybody's profiting.
On Wednesday, President Trump traveling to North Dakota to help open a museum honoring Theodore Roosevelt, speaking with an AI version of the nation's 26th president.
Every day, the president faces storms most people never see. I know you know that feeling yourself.
Well, I appreciate those words. Those words are fantastic.
As for the president's income, his son Eric Trump has said that his father's investments are maintained in accounts managed by independent third-party financial institutions, although the White House has not detailed which ones. Joe.
All right, Gabe, thank you. Much more to come on this hour of morning news now, including the show-stopping tale of Team USA's World Cup dominance, besting Bosnia and Herzegovina overnight. But the win didn't come without a splash of red. We'll explain. To soccer now, and the U.S. men's national team is through to the round of 16 of the World Cup following a 2-0 win against Bosnia and Herzegovina. But the victory was not smooth sailing. The team was reduced to 10 men after star striker Folarin Balogun was sent off in the second half. He had scored the opening goal earlier in the match, but now he misses the next game against Belgium. Let's bring in commentator and presenter Tony Husband to talk about this one and more. Tony, good to have you with us. So maybe bittersweet. The most important thing is they won, but what did he make of their performance and that red card incident? Do you think it was the right call?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. It was victory at a cost, that's for sure. It's a harsh call. It's a tough call. It's an unfortunate call. A lot of people talking about the challenge and what drew the red card and saying, yeah, but he didn't mean to do it. Unfortunately, in soccer's rules, it's not intent. It doesn't matter whether he meant to do it or not. That kind of challenge does more often than not, in the era of video review, draw a red card. But they did incredibly well to bounce back from that. They're going to miss Balogun big time going to Seattle now to take on Belgium. But it was an incredible fight back. Malik Tillman's free kick to wrap it up and get them some clear daylight between them and Bosnia was absolutely crucial. But yeah, a night where, you know, there was a fantastic victory for this U.S. men's national team. A great result from Mauricio Pochettino and that group. But it does come at a pretty heavy cost as they go into what's going to be their toughest game.
No doubt. That next one is Belgium. For a long time, it looked like it might be Senegal, but the Belgians fought back, winning dramatically in extra time against Senegal. How do you think they did? Did they get lucky? And just how do you assess Team USA's chances against Belgium, especially without Balogun?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they got out of jail absolutely late in the game. They're 2-0 down going into the 86th minute of this game in Seattle. Senegal looked to be in complete control. They'd scored one of the goals of the tournament to put them into a commanding position. But you can't write teams off who've got, real star quality. They may be a little bit aging these days. The likes of Romelu Lukaku, they were around last time the US played Belgium in a World Cup knockout game. But they fought back, and they've got some good young talent that's come through as well. Yuri Tillman scoring the winning penalty in extra time just before we were due to go into a penalty shootout to get a come-from-behind victory for Belgium, which will give them a lot of momentum now going into that game. But this, Joe, on Monday night, it's a home game now for the U.S. The John Denver lyrics are part of this U.S. anthem this summer, and there's no better home right now for this U.S. team than Seattle. The atmosphere is going to be incredible, and they can be that 12th man.
I expect earthquakes. I think Seattle is capable of doing that. The fan base there, the ground may actually shake. Let's talk about your team, England. Fairly lackluster performance from them until the captain, Harry Kane, stepped up. 2 goals, completing that comeback win. Now they play Mexico. They're looking really strong at their home turf at the historic Azteca Stadium. So what do you think about this matchup?
Well, we've just been talking about royalty just before this segment, haven't we? And I think in England we have King Harry now, because Harry Kane basically saved England from what would have been a football humiliation yesterday. They were minutes away from being out of this World Cup with one of the poorest results in their World Cup history, indeed in their entire history. They were saying that the head coach, Thomas Tuchel, was minutes away from being out of a job. But Kane's 2 goals save England. They have a far steeper test as they go to Mexico City against a Mexico side that just do not lose games at the Azteca Stadium. Taking the altitude as well, England are going to have to play a lot better if they're going to get through the next stage of this competition. But, Joe, one thing about this World Cup I think that's been so thrilling is all the big stars are showing up, whether it's Messi, whether it's Haaland, whether it's been Balogun for the US and Pulisic, and it's Kane for England. They've got stars in this England team, in Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. They'll need them on Sunday.
All right, before we get to the next stage, we still have some matches today. One of the favorites of the tournament is Spain taking on Austria. On paper, the Spanish should win this, right? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I think the Spanish should come through this game. I mean, they had a slow start to the tournament, and they were held famously by Cabo Verde in the group stage. But I would back this Spanish team to get through. Lamine Yamal has come back from a hamstring injury and has been playing his way into full fitness in this tournament. I mean, he's a game changer. Again, when we talk about stars, these are the kind of players that can do it for a team. So I would expect Spain to beat Austria today. There's also a cracking game here in Toronto, where I am right now. We're going to see Luka Modric and Cristiano Ronaldo go up against each other for the last time in a World Cup as Portugal and Croatia meet. That is going to be a last dance for one of them on the world's biggest stage. Should be a heck of a game.
Yeah, a lot of emotions in that one. One more today. We got Switzerland locking horns with Algeria. What are you looking for there?
I suspect the Swiss will get through. Algeria did really well to get through the final stages of qualifying, a thrilling last-minute goal that got them into this stage. I think Switzerland are probably a little bit off the radar. They're a strong side, got a lot of talent in that group. I would pick the Swiss. So it's going to be a really, really good day of games. And the European teams, I feel, will be the favorites.
Hopefully today's are just as entertaining as yesterday's. Tony Husband, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. Coming up, America's labor market back in focus this morning. After the break, we're going to dig into some brand new employment numbers out today. That includes how wages are performing in a summer of inflation. That is next. Stay with us. We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with new information about the day Senator Mitch McConnell was hospitalized. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us again with this. Gabe, good morning.
Hi there, Joe. Good morning. We do begin with growing questions about the health of a key figure in Washington. Last month, Senator Mitch McConnell's office announced that he'd been hospitalized, but wouldn't say why. Now, according to police scanner audio obtained by NBC News, paramedics responded to a report of a cardiac arrest for an unconscious person at a known address for the former majority leader, who announced last year he would not seek re-election. McConnell's office has not disclosed whether he remains hospitalized, but says the Kentucky senator is still working closely with staff on Senate business as he recovers. Plus, former CIA Director John Brennan is suing the Trump administration, demanding a court order that would require officials to preserve records from investigations that he says are targeting him for phantom criminal conduct. Brennan argues in the lawsuit that the records would be essential for him to mount a defense on vindictive prosecution grounds in the event of a future indictment. The lawsuit names as defendants President Trump and other top law enforcement officials from his administration. No charges have been brought. The Justice Department has denied claims of weaponization. And after some major political wins recently, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani is increasingly stepping onto the national stage. His office says the Progressive Democrat will deliver what it calls a major address on Friday morning to mark America's 250th birthday. The speech follows recent string of victories, including a trio of primary wins for House candidates he backed and freezing rents on rent-stabilized homes in New York. Mamdani's planned address will come just hours before President Trump's commemorative speech in South Dakota. And that is where we start on what's expected to be quite the warm day here in Washington, Joe.
Yeah, Gabe, we'll let you try and get inside now. Thank you so much. Kids across the country are home for summer break, which means those facing food insecurity are missing out on some vital school lunches. And this year, food banks are sounding the alarm about cuts to food assistance programs in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, which may make it an extra difficult few weeks. NBC's Shannon Pettypiece has that story.
For the millions of American families who rely on food stamps, the end of the school year means fewer steady meals for their children.
It's really the summer months, June, July, August, that are the hardest for people facing hunger.
And this summer, the Trump administration's sweeping cuts to SNAP may add to that yearly challenge.
I was getting them, and then all of a sudden they just stopped. Like, I just recently got laid off. So they cut me off unemployment and they cut me off food stamps, like, at the same time.
Milton Liu says he has seen record demand at the food bank he leads in Arizona, but the number of people on SNAP has been cut in half, according to state data.
So we see 250,000 visits every month across our network. And that number is 10 to 15% higher than last year.
And the limited data we have suggests almost half of the people who stopped receiving benefits a year after the president signed the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, children. At least 800,000 kids impacted nationwide, according to a recent analysis by the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
That number of children is actually only for 13 states because it's only 13 states that actually track how many people are on SNAP based on age. So we really think it's even bigger.
And now, the first summer since the SNAP cuts took effect.
Without the school meals, families are spending more of their resources, their SNAP resources and their other limited grocery resources on food for their children.
Many major American cities have offered free summer meals to kids for years. And some places are expanding programs to meet increased need. Officials in Austin, Texas are rushing to open more food pantries, but they won't be open until the fall. In Virginia, the organization No Kid Hungry is helping to fund programs that provide cash to children to help buy groceries, as well as free meals throughout the summer. And in Harrison County, Mississippi, the school district is now letting parents pick up a full week's worth of meals in one trip. We reached out to the White House about the impact of the cuts to SNAP, especially on children, and did not hear back. But experts say passing the responsibility from the federal government to local governments and food banks is less effective and more costly.
When you think of SNAP, families are getting assistance to purchase groceries. They are recycling that money quickly back into their communities. Food banks are just not set up to provide the level of support that a program like SNAP can.
Major hunger relief organization Feeding America says SNAP provides 9 meals for every meal its food bank network distributes.
Just nationally, food banks could only replace less than 10% of the value of SNAP benefits.
As the summer heats up, so does the race to make sure America's children are fed.
Shannon Pettypiece, NBC News.
We have some breaking economic numbers to bring you. The U.S. economy added 57,000 jobs in June. That was less than expected. The unemployment rate coming in at 4.2%. Got NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Canal at the big board. Also joining us, Investopedia's editor-in-chief and chief business editor of People Inc., Caleb Silver. Good morning to both of you. Ali, let's start with you. Walk us through the numbers, how they compare with previous months.
Yeah, well, as you said, Joe, coming in below expectations here. So the estimate was 115,000 jobs added in June. That coming in at 57,000. So just around half that was expected. We also got downwardly revised numbers for both April and May. April, remember we had that blowout jobs report, 179,000 jobs added. That was revised lower by 31,000 to 148,000 jobs. And then in May, same thing, 172,000 jobs added last month. Not necessarily true. That was revised down by 43,000 jobs to 129,000 here. Now, the good news is that the unemployment rate did come in a touch below expectations here at 4.2%. So coming down a little bit. And that, honestly, is pretty low by historical standards here. You can see we had some choppiness. Right here is when you had that government shutdown. So a bit of lag in the data here. But 4.2% is pretty good. The issue, though, is that a lot of folks out there that are looking for jobs, they're having a difficult time finding one. It's what's been described by economists as low hire, low fire. And that's what makes this a tricky job market right now, Joe.
All right, Caleb, let's bring you in here. Obviously, these numbers are surprising, below what was expected. What does this tell us about the economy right now? Especially because, I mean, like the World Cup's happening in all these cities across America. So we thought, well, we'd see a big boost there, too.
Yeah. Ali will give you the sector breakdown in a second, but leisure and hospitality is where exactly we thought we would see those job gains because of the World Cup, because of a lot of summer events going on. But we actually saw steep job losses there. And Ali mentioned the unemployment rate of 4.2%. Yes, low, right near the Fed's target. But the labor force participation rate, only 61.5%. That is very low. It's not terribly low, but low by historical standards. Tells you more people are leaving the workforce than are actually entering.
All right, so Ali, let's break it down by industry. Where are we seeing the biggest losses and the biggest gains?
Well, as Caleb mentioned, you know, the World Cup, there was a lot of jobs that were added to the leisure and hospitality sector last month. So there were some warning signs that this could be the start of a summer slowdown. So leisure and hospitality falling by 61,000 jobs there. Now, healthcare, that continues to be the sector that continuously adds jobs over and over again. We saw 22,000 jobs added here as the aging population really requires a need for these healthcare workers. Manufacturing, a pretty good barometer on the economy. Pretty much little change there, just around 3,000 jobs added. And we do know that the manufacturing sector has been expanding over the past few months. And then construction, we saw 11,000 jobs added, typically seasonally, better weather. You have more infrastructure projects. You have more house building in the works there. Construction, also a good sector to watch as we continue to monitor that AI build out as well, Joe.
So, Caleb, here's the challenge. You need to try and cool inflation, but then maybe you also want to try and boost the market, the job market. So if you're Kevin Warsh, who's rather tight-lipped these days, ahead of the next Federal Reserve meeting, which is in
27 days, 5 hours and 20 minutes. I'm not counting, you're counting, but he's not worried about the jobs market. He told us as much yesterday at a speech in Portugal. He said it's inflation that we care about. And if you think, he said, that the Fed is comfortable with inflation north of 2.5%, you are very wrong about that. So the Fed is going to be focused on inflation. Right now, there is a 30% chance of a rate hike at that July 29th meeting. Roll the tape forward to September 16th, a 50% chance. We'll see if that sticks, given the upcoming inflation numbers and more jobs data to come in the next month.
Ali, while we're talking about inflation, we also have to talk about wages. What are we seeing when it comes to wage growth?
So coming in at expectations, 3.5%, but look at where inflation's at 4.2%. So once again, inflation that's eating into your paycheck. That's a trend we've been seeing over the past several months. Now, back in May, wage growth was 3.4%, so a little bit of an uptick there. We will see if this number can come down. We'll get fresh inflation data over the next couple of weeks. We do know that energy prices have fallen as there's been easing tensions between the U.S. and Iran. That will likely be a positive thing on inflation. But this is why when you're out shopping at the grocery store, when you're buying things, you probably feel that pressure a bit more because inflation is just eating into those paychecks, which we obviously all don't want.
Yeah, and everyone's feeling that. So, Caleb, big picture, when your wages are going up but not enough to meet that inflation, just what does that mean for our wallets, how we manage our expenses, how we manage our bills?
Yeah, this is the way it's going to be for a while. Interest rates are not going to change. So expect to pay those higher interest rates, and I wouldn't expect prices to come tumbling down. Maybe they will at the gas station. The rest of the supply chain is going to take a while, maybe a couple months.
All right. Allie Canal, Caleb Silver, good to have both of you with us breaking down these breaking numbers. Coming up, more sticker shock that's got many Americans thinking twice before shelling out for the latest tech. How consumers are trying to fight back against price hikes from titans like Apple and Microsoft. We'll dig into it next on Morning News Now. We're back talking about the phenomenon known as Ramageddon. Today's AI boom is raising the price tag and the demand on random access memory chips. In response, companies like Apple and Microsoft recently announced price hikes across their product lineups. But there might be a solution for your pockets. Some spend-weary tech lovers are purchasing refurbished products instead of brand new ones to save some money. So if you're thinking about trying this out for your next tech purchase, NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung is here with everything you need to know before you buy. I'm glad we're digging into this because more and more people are talking about. Let's start with just the dollars and cents when it comes to choosing a refurbished product over a brand new one. How much could you save?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, go to the manufacturer website to see if you can buy refurbished products there, because you're going to have the peace of mind of knowing that the company that made it says this product is A-OK. Now, at Apple, for example, those products will be 15% off generally compared to the new prices, whereas at Microsoft, you might get 30% off. It's not going to be the steepest discount that you will find out there. You might find steeper discounts at places like eBay or Amazon Renewed, Back Market, Vinted is another one. But the idea here is that you're giving a little bit of that trade-off to know that Apple and Microsoft itself, for example, say that this product is okay. I should also point out it's not just computers and phones, vacuums as well.
Oh.
You go to Dyson and get a essentially certified resale product from there as well. But again, especially as you point out, things are getting more expensive. RAM is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
For that reason, it's a good option to get a discount.
I never even thought about the refurbished vacuum there. All right, so I actually did this. My personal phone I bought a couple of years ago is refurbished.
We were just talking about that.
Works just fine. But I maybe didn't do enough research beforehand. What should you know before you get started?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, there are risks associated with buying these types of tech products secondhand. It might not work. The battery might be used up. So a few things that's worth checking in addition to cosmetic damage. Obviously, you want to check for scratches or any sort of scuffs on there, but check for the warranty. And this is something where, let's say you buy a product that's 2 years old, there's a warranty that covers it for 5 years. Well, you would want to know that. And in some cases, you might need the documentation of the card or whatever documentation was inside the box to keep that warranty since someone else sold it to you. But also research longevity. In some cases, the item that you're buying will only have software update support for X amount of years after you purchased it. So 7 years is generally the guideline. So if you buy a phone that's 2 or 3 years old, you might only get software support for another 4 or 5. And then lastly, the battery. People might not know this. If you buy an iPhone, you can actually check in the settings. It'll say battery and then battery capacity, and it'll tell you what percentage of your battery compared to when you bought it do you have in that phone. 60 or 70% means only 60 to 70% of the capacity compared to when you bought it. So that's something good to know if you buy something used.
That is some good advice right there. Are there common mistakes along those lines or pitfalls that people fall into when they do this?
Yeah, well, look, I think that first off, they don't necessarily check all the aspects of that particular device. And so when you think about a touchscreen, yes, you got a good discount, but the touchscreen is something that could be faulty. It's a big part of the actual device, and so you want to check the corners, make sure that it's responsive. You also want to check for the charging ports. If there's anything that's an issue with the charging port, of course, that's going to be a huge problem. If you can't charge the device, it's pretty much unusable. And people don't think about audio, microphones in there, especially when you're trying to make phone calls. You want to make sure people can hear you. So try to make a phone call, try to do a voice recording, see if that works. And then the camera, that's a big one as well on these devices. Make sure they work, take a look at the photos, make sure that the pixels all look okay. And also double check the return policies for wherever you're getting this stuff. Amazon, for example, on their resale website, they have a 90-day return policy. So take advantage of that. And just generally speaking, again, you want to stay away from smartwatches. You want to stay away from AirPods for obvious reasons. Disgusting. But again, for other types of devices, they could offer some pretty good discounts these days, especially with the cost of electronics going up, Joe.
All right, Brian, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. With the 4th of July weekend kicking off tomorrow, millions of Americans are going to be heading to pools, lakes, and beaches to cool off. But before kids make a splash, we got a few simple water safety steps that can make all the difference. Joining us now is Dr. Molly O'Shea, a water safety expert and official pediatrician for Goldfish Swim School. Doctor, good to have you with us. This is an important story. Sadly, we know drowning can happen fast and quietly and happens just far too often. What's the biggest misconception parents have when it comes to keeping their kids safe around the water?
Often, especially over these holiday weekends, everybody gets together and there's water involved, and that's part of what makes it fun. But when everybody's together, everybody thinks somebody else is watching the kids, or maybe everybody's watching the kids, and it turns out nobody's really watching the kids. So it is so important to remember that even though there are 20 adults there with the kids, somebody has to be watching them and have that be their job.
Let's talk more about that role of water watcher. What exactly does that really mean, and talk more about why it's so important?
Yeah, when you have kids and they're swimming, there's horseplay, there's different levels of capabilities. And so having one of the grown-ups at a time, taking turns to have their only job be to keep an eye on the kids near the water is really important. And that's what the water watcher is. It's somebody who puts their phone aside, who isn't making conversation with other people, and who is really just essentially acting as the lifeguard of sorts. So one way that you can arrange for this is when everybody gets there, you can have a device, some sort of something. You can have a wooden spoon, you can have a plastic knife. It doesn't even matter what it is, but you hand it to somebody and say, you're on. And then they set their timer, say, hey, Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. And then once that timer goes off, they hand whatever that device is, whatever that little thing is, to the next adult who does the same thing. And that way you know who it is, you know what your job is. It's not a long time, so you can stay really focused.
I like that. And so many parents might rely on like floaties or inflatables. What should families be using instead?
Yeah, floaties are really cute, but they're not a safety device. And they actually put kids in the drowning position, which is up and down. They give kids a false sense of security. So they're really not recommended. Coast Guard approved life jackets are what kids should be using, whether they're in open water or in the pool, until they are strong swimmers. Especially if you're not going to be within arm's reach. Little kids, of course, you need to be in the pool with them and within arm's reach. But if that's ever not going to be the case, the Coast Guard approved life jacket is super important.
For families that spend most of the summer at the pool or the beach, what is just the one water safety habit you wish every parent would start right now this weekend?
I have two. I can't go down to one. One is that all children need to be water safety ready, which includes taking swim lessons starting at age 1 at a place like Goldfish, so that you learn those safety skills. And they are not a one and done thing. You need to do them continuously, kind of like that line dance at the graduation party. You might know it after the first verse again, but when it comes to drowning, it happens in 20 seconds. So you've got to be ready to use those skills right away. So swim lessons. Number 2, it is during meals or when you take another kid to the bathroom. It's when you least expect it that drowning happens. So that water watcher has to be on duty even when kids aren't in the pool.
All right, we'll take those 2 safety habits. Dr. Molly O'Shea, thank you so much. Have a fun and have a safe holiday weekend.
Have a great holiday weekend.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.